Searching for greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless, a sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it, and I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story. I'll make a decision if I want some peace or if I want the glory, yeah. Don't want a life that is complacent or possibly boring, just want a life that is worth every day exploring,
My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, yeah,
Kansas Speedway, Kansas City, Kansas. We get ready to rock and roll. It is the 13th race of Sim500's NC811 Grand National Series as we get ready to rock and roll from the Midwest. Believe it or not, it has been since October 2020 since this series has seen this track. And I wonder how the adaptation will be when it's all said and done. 79 degrees, 54% humidity, partly cloudy skies. A 2-mile-an-hour winds. It's the iRacing default weather in this 1.5-mile track. 100 laps, 150 miles expected to go here this afternoon. Joey Jatina talking to the crowd right now as they get ready to race, of course, for the warm-up. And qualifying actually just got completed. Unfortunately, running a little behind here on the broadcast. Had to take care of a work situation. But we're here and ready to rock and roll. And, of course, our Know What's Below. Call 811 before you dig. Pole Award winner. Well, if you haven't figured it out by now, it's a pretty simple name that is qualified for the pole. And it's not showing up for me right now, but it is Tyler Dalton, who won the pole again this afternoon. He gets it by 1/100th of a second over Steve Ritter. Good lap there on his part. So, Tyler, we're not going to talk to him. He seems to have bad luck when we talk to him in the booth, when we come to giving a man the interview and stuff like that. So, we're going to keep the bad juju away from Tyler Dalton here, but he is on the pole. Steve Ritter will start there on the outside of the front row. So, congratulations to him. And always remember, 811, Know What's Below, call before you dig. Especially as we get into the warm time of the season. Cars are starting to grid right now for this 100-lap race, and let's get you the starting lineup up there at the top. As I mentioned, Tyler Dalton, Steve Ritter will be on the front row. Troy Radford, Joey Jatina getting himself a top 4 start. He'll start there on the outside of row number 2. Wesley Donaldson, Doy Woods there in row 3. Van Schaik and Simley, row 4. Chad Coleman, John Higman Jr. going to be row number 5. But again, congratulations to Dalton. Not sure if he's gotten any polls between last Sunday and now. If he hasn't, that's poll number 151, I believe, now for the series history. Otherwise, he probably has more than that. That's at least what I would expect as of this point. All right, the point standings entering right now. Mojica extending that lead big time to 55. As you see, Bob Gillenwater is second there in points. Chad Coleman now third with Scott Simley in fourth. Doy Woods, your top 5 as we enter tonight's race. Mojica, once again, is batting, I should say, 50% right now in this series. Doy Woods, Dalton, Marinick, Arnold, and Kelly, and Ritter, your top 10. So we get on to 16th. Justin Fuller, he is the bubble guy right now by 19 over Glenn Campbell, Ron Holyfield, Joe Hudson, Doug Sigmund, your top 20 down to Kevin Stone, who is 25th in points as the cars do roll off for the first of, well, the only grid lap they're going to get here tonight before they go racing. Race information for tonight looks like this, 100 laps, 150 miles, a 100% fuel in the tank. That should get you about 50 to 55 laps. So should be a one-stopper, but of course we'll see what cautions look like. You could see some people split it in 2 stops. 3 sets of tires, and you see down there in the previous winners, I put the month because this is the earliest we've ever run Kansas in this series. And 2, it's been almost 2.5 years since we've seen the track here at Kansas. It is a track that a lot of people did not like at the beginning when it was released on iRacing, but now it is definitely a favorite, and it is round number 13 of the Sim500 NC811.org Grand National Series live from Kansas. Happy Mother's Day. Dalton with a good start into turn 1, going to clear Radford, and of course our cameras tonight presented by TrackCams22.com. You can check them out online or on Facebook in the iRacing forums and their website TrackCams22.com. This was a tough decision to make racing here on a Sunday night, but with the All-Star Week next week, Memorial Day the following weekend, this is actually be the last weekend they race for 2 weeks here on a Sunday night, as Dalton leads lap 1. This track does produce side-by-side racing, and that's what I talked about. Is look at that, Donaldson slides up in front of Jatina. Jatina going to cut back over to the inside for 4th. Tire fall-off's a big deal. You can run the bottom here for a little bit, but then eventually the top becomes the place to be as net code. Donaldson and Jatina and the Van Schaik, and they go wrecking. And I think Joey all that forward before he hit more people. And caution is out. A lot of cars involved in this one. Let's watch what happens here. This was not pretty, but you're going to see big net code right there. Van Schaik involved in this. Others going to the grass. You saw Joey. Oh, he got Jeff Ryan on his lid. I think Bob Gillenwater got some damage. Yep, he did. There's the 4 car up there at the top with damage. A big wreck, unfortunately, here on lap number 2 of this race. And netcode made its appearance, unfortunately, because of it. Doy Woods gets through. There's Van Schaik getting hit. And like I said, Joey does the... Wow, and then Bob Gillenwater gets sent flying. And I wonder if part of it had to do with the netcode with John Higman, or not the netcode, but the All F4 by Jatina here. Let's... Oh my gosh. On board with Gillenwater. So he's gonna... He just gets sent. Wow. Let's get a view. Let's get a view of this outside the car now. Wow. That looks so unreal. That brings caution out here for the first time, unfortunately. Lap number 5 of this race. That's just unfortunate that netcode gets in the way of something like that. I know there's going to be some unhappy people. I know Joey was one of the first cars in here. I got in here for qualifying, or for practice, I should say, right at the start, and saw him out here running laps already. Sounds like Joey actually had computer issues is what I'm hearing now. So, unfortunate circumstances there. Wesley Donaldson, Jeff Ryan, Josh Parker with damage, John Higman with damage, Wortman and Sigmund on pit road. So we got a lot of cars on pit road here. But I think we're going to go back to green this time by. Wow. Well, that's a wild start to Kansas, if you will. You wonder if somebody clicked their heels or ran into a tornado, Dorothy-wise, which, by the way, I took my daughter to go see that movie today in the theaters. They did a classic rerun of The Wizard of Oz. And ironically, we're in Kansas racing. All right, lap 6, we come back to the green flag. Dalton, Radford, Woods, Ritter, Coleman, your top 5. They work their way down the back straightaway into turn 3. This is the longest straightaways of all these tracks that the Cup or NASCAR runs of 1.5-mile tracks. So that means you got tighter corners here, but very fast speeds down to turn 1 as you see them burn right now. Into the progressive banking, 18 to 20 degrees, just like Las Vegas. As Radford clears for second. Battle on back here for third. Doy Wood, Steve Ritter. There's Coleman and Calantoni right there behind those guys. Again, do want to send an apology to all those who usually like to watch beforehand. A little pre-race show or whatnot. Had a little quick issue. They needed some help with the Front Stretch website and of an article posting, so I really quickly typed one up and helped them out with it. So that's why I kind of got late starting. So apologies to everybody, but we're here, rocking and rolling. The article actually was about Harrison Burton's first top 10 this season, so for those who are interested. It's actually going to be my first written article about a driver. That'd be kind of, well, outside of like previews for like the season and whatnot. All right, so like I started to say before that recap, in the bottom lane, it's there to be used. However, it's very tough, especially on older tires, to make it work. Eventually, you're going to see the top be the way to go, but you can make some progress. You're able to save some tire. You might be able to make that bottom line work a little bit. And that's where you're seeing Calantoni right now, working that top side against Steve Ritter. You see Nigel Standish up there to top side at 09. Pedro Mojica started all the way back in 22nd. He avoided that wreck. He runs right there in the 9th position now. As we ride with Sir Pedro. See John Higman still on pit road getting that damage fixed. Track temp at 128 should warm up just a little bit here. Especially as we get later into the daytime. Joey Jettina did return to the track, by the way, after his computer issues. He is 2 laps down in 21st. Should have some damage, I would think, to the right side after the net coating issue there. I'm sure Joey's going to feel terrible about that, especially being the fact he runs the league. Dalton, 1/10 of a second right now. Troy Radford putting that pressure on. As you see everybody migrate to the top. Trying to see what modified that is that has come to the track down there. I think that's Higman in the 60. $13 laps in. Again, 100 laps and should be easily a one-stopper. Now, again, I think you could see some cars go two-stop here. I think there's a couple drivers I'll mention. Mike Kelly. I don't see Eric Arnold in the field. Is Arnold here? Yep, Eric Arnold's in the field running 15th. If Arnold, those guys would be the guys I think you would expect to maybe try the two-stopper, but it could be anyone. You never know what could be the right way to go. As you see Campbell up there trying to utilize that top side. A couple trans service cars side by side. Now, of course, we did discuss on the broadcast the last couple of weeks that the curse of the interview is broken. However, for Tyler's sake, him winning poles and not getting good finishes, usually I interview him, obviously, to say, hey, congrats on the pole. That usually doesn't turn out well. So we're going to see how it goes tonight without an interview at all. All right, lap time starting to fall off about a half second, 3/4 of a second already in this race. Kind of speeds do you see down the straightaways here at Kansas? How about, I see a top speed of 192 down the turn. I'm guessing it'd be turn 1 with the way the straightaways are lined up. That was by Eric Arnold, so probably a little bit of draft usage in that also. But packs sort of staying together here. Top 15 cars all separated by less than a second apiece to each other. And it's 1.7 back from 1st to 15th right now. As you see Ritter inside Mojica. Somebody scraped it up there a little bit. And Radford just scraped the wall up maybe there a little bit. Maybe something to look out for. You see Coleman dropping down to the bottom there. And not sure if he's completing a pass there or holding off a battle. But that's with Campbell back there also. Mojica's in that battle. Steve Ritter kind of falling back in the 16. But look at Coleman. He is Bob Ross in that bottom lane. As he works the inside of that 44. Campbell able to carry the momentum plus the draft off the corner. And again, with this progressive banking, the top side is the highest banked part of the track at 20 degrees. With the bottom being at 18, that's where you see this top just become so powerful. Almost becomes a train, if you will, at the top side. As now Mojica going to dive bottom side on his teammate. I say teammate, sponsor teammate. Up front, still a 2/10 of a second lead on Radford. Joy Woods there in third, Callan Tony fourth. And as mentioned before, Nigel Standish up to the 5th position. Callan Tony and Mojica, the biggest movers right now, up 15 spots. You see Mojica down there to the bottom side, trying to battle. Appreciate the viewers watching here tonight as Callan Tony smacks the wall outside. He got that wall a ton. That might be a meatball when it's all said and done, but that car is going to be terrible driving now. Tough break for the Talking Giants 84. He's going to need some help with the yellow maybe to get some damage fixed on that car. That was a lick off turn 2. Yeah, he just got tight and slammed the outside wall. Thankfully, got the safer barrier. Now, I was starting to say thank you, viewers, for coming in and checking us out here on a Sunday night. Hopefully, you're having a good Mother's Day evening. Hopefully, if you're a mom watching tonight, happy Mother's Day to you. And always, you know, you can hit that subscribe button to be a part of the broadcast. As this is the best fight right here on the track, as Mojica tries to get around Campbell. Campbell doing a great job taking advantage of his tools, a.k.a. the top side, to hold him off here. And back here, you got a couple battles, too, to keep an eye on. Scott Simley under attack. That's Van Schaik trying to work his way back up through the field. And then the 8 of Randy Oakham inside of Eric Arnold. So good racing here on the back straightaway. Oh, and Campbell gets the outside wall hard. He might have hit that wall harder than Arnold did. This track gets very, very tight in the long run. Especially off the corners. You get that, you get the air on that front. And it makes it very tough to drive. And you knock down that outside wall. That counts. Tony got it again. So as we get to that point, the question going to be, do you come get tires at about 5 to 10 laps from now? Or do you wait to halfway and run this tank out? I mean, the race does have a green flag look to it. Yes, a couple cars have smashed the outside wall, but you never know what can happen in a race. Jeff Ryan leaving pit road after he went flip-saroo on the front straightaway there on that lap 2 wreck. And now the battle for third as Mojica continues to roar his way up through the field. And he's doing it mostly down there on the bottom. He's letting the car drift its way up the track off the corners. Right down on that white line, just like Coleman is. Going to slide up, and he's going to take the position. Doy's going to give it to him. That might have been more of a teammate move right there where Doy said, you know what, you can have it. I'm not going to race you that hard. Doy, very old school-ish, if you will. Not afraid of giving and taking, just like they did back in the old heyday of racing. Nothing wrong with that kind of racing. You don't see it anymore, but still good to have drivers like that that are willing to, you know, back off the throttle and say, hey, go ahead and take the spot away. There's plenty of laps to go in this race. The problem is, will he get that in return later? Eric Arnold gonna, well, trying to work his way by the 44 there. He got a little loose inside. And for second, I think Chad Coleman got a little loose off too from what I'm hearing. Of course, tomorrow will be the Cup Series here at Kansas. Now, the Cup Series will not be off next week. So we'll be back here next Monday night after this Monday. So it's just this series here. On Sunday night, you will not see us for 2 weeks. And we'll return at Darlington in June. The lap times have fallen off about a second and a half almost now. 33 and 34 second laps. So the question again, I'm going to bring it out. Who's going to be the guy that tries the early pit stop? As I think the 09 just got the outside wall. think the fall off here is good enough to where you might be able to get something out of those tires. He almost got an egg underneath that throttle. He's being very careful, trying not to let it get tight. And you see Doy Woods getting a little loose off the corner. So Jeff Ryan has come back to pit road. Bob Gillenwater, I think, is still on pit road trying to reenact what happened to him a few laps ago. Track temps fallen about 6 degrees since the start of the race, so that could be a factor that comes into play. John Higman back on pit road. As up front, the battle for the lead is about to happen. Josh Parker, who is currently a lot of laps down, as he's just trying to get out here and get as many laps back as he can and just run laps basically in the 81 car. He's going to roar the top side here past Dalton, I think. And Mojica going to put the pressure on the 19 for the lead. You might call that a little bit of a teamwork move right there, as Parker goes down in front of Dalton as Dalton went to go into the corner, and that's going to give the door to Mojica top side. Tyler going to slide up, but Pedro should be able to clear him right here for the lead, and he will. So Mojica is driven from the back to the front. 21 spots to the lead. As you can say, teamwork coming into play here. All right, let's step away for a quick second before we get to green flag pit stops, hopefully. And we'll hear from our sponsors, 811, as you're watching the Sim500 from Kansas Speedway on the Captain Esports Network.
If recent storms have caused damage to your property, contact 811 before you begin your cleanup. Buried utilities around uprooted trees can make a bad situation worse if those lines are not located before digging. Electric, natural gas, and internet lines are everywhere, and knowing where they are is the safest way to start any digging project. Call North Carolina 811 by dialing 811 or by using single address ticket on NC811.org or the NC811 app.
All right, back we are with you, 38 laps complete. And the first car to make its move to pit road going to be Tom Dreiling in the 32 car. One of those numbers. But anyways, he comes to pit road from the 18th position here. So I like this move on Tom's part. See who else maybe will make the move here. I don't think you can go 62 laps on a tank of fuel, so that's going to be kind of pushing it for him. But this racing right here, this is what I was starting to cut to before I saw the pit stops happening, is the battle right here from 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th, all right here. And look at Charles Van Schaik in that 23 car. Started up there towards the front in this race, was involved in the Jatina wreck, has gotten that damage fixed and gotten his car back up here into the top 10 in the 8th position. So SpongeBob SquareShike running pretty well in that 23 car. So Ritter looking now past the 08, and Nigel clicks the wall a little bit there. So turn 4 looks like it's been Calamity Corner so far for these guys. They almost feel like the car's getting comfortable, and then all of a sudden they get up there and slam the outside wall. And I think of Richard Petty's quote, "When I run at Kansas, you wonder why people run the top side. Well, it's the closest distance to the wall. You don't hit it as hard." Woods trying to get around the 09, fifth position here as Van Schaik drops it to the bottom. You can just see the little bit of the damage there on that right rear seal of that 23 car. Doy going to complete the pass on Standish for the fifth position. Dreiling 15-second stop there. So let's see if that triggers some other cars to pit road here. We're curious to see where that 32 does come out. You see him down there in the 20th position right now after that stop. Last time by, he was nearly a second faster than the leader on that lap. Glenn Campbell going to come to pit road, probably going to get some damage fixed on that 44, and also for tires and fuel just shy of halfway. Now this I could see going the distance on one stop, maybe 56 laps. Right outside that 50 to 55 I projected, but we shall see. AC Campbell pulls away 15-3 for him, so obviously he must not have had any required damage to fix, which is good news. And I would like to know how Doy Woods went 198 down to turn one. That's got to be a typo. Unless you're in the Gen 4, you're not going 198 in the turn one. And even then, it's questionable. Check out Randy Oakham here battling the Chipotle Chevrolet. That's the 92 of Nick Cashman, who's been making some starts here recently. Good to see Nick back out there on track. Nick running in the 12th position right now as he battles with Yoakum. All right, so Mojica leads right now by 1.1 seconds over Tyler Dalton. Troy Radford still running third. Steve Ritter's worked his way back up to fourth. Doy Woods now fifth. Van Schaik, Standish, Coleman, Simley, Mike Kelly, your top 10, as we are 2 laps from the halfway point. So it looks like we're only going to have 1 or 2 guys try this 2-stop strategy. And, well, one for sure, Tom Dreiling. I think others go back to the race at Texas earlier this season, amongst other 1.5 or 2 mile tracks where they tried a similar strategy and it bit them. Van Schaik under attack as Doy Woods makes the pass there for the 5th position. Standish up there against the boards, trying to do his best there. Again, tomorrow night, the Cup Series in the 811.org Cup Series will be on track at the Kansas Speedway before we head over to Charlotte for the annual running of the L. Bryce Whitson 240. We'll talk about that race more as we get closer to it next week, but first we get through Kansas. Randy Oakham going to be the first to make pit stops right at halfway. Calantoni's going to come in. So here we go with the start of pit stops. I have not heard a word on the microphone. So I don't know if they're not going to say a word and just going to sneak their way into the pits, or who's going to pit or whatnot here. So I know I've heard some communication. So obviously chat is working. 4 tires and fuel for that North Carolina 811 number 8. And he will pull away. Calantoni leaving pit road, and I think we're going to see our first of the leaders come in right here. As you see Stefan Marinick in the 1 car. I haven't said his name. Stefan is running in 16th right now. And is a couple laps down. I think he was involved in the accident also earlier. So Steve Ritter coming to pit road. Expect Jatina in next time by. You see Doy Woods coming to pit road. Chad Coleman is in. Nick Cashman on pit road also. All this 4 tires and fuel. Nigel Standish on pit road now. Mike Kelly's on pit road. Tyler Dalton, Troy Radford on pit road. So I think you're going to see Mojica come to pit road this time by. As we're right at the edge of those pit stops, as I mentioned. And here he comes, right on cue. Mojica to pit road. Let's track Dalton stop here real quick. Left side tires going on. Radford right there with him. And, uh-oh. The speeding police have hit Tyler Dalton. So Radford going to make the jump here. It's going to be a 40-second bonus, if you will. Added time to Tyler Dalton. So that is really going to hurt him. So either way, that kind of clears me of any wrongdoing of interviewing him. As Mojica leaves, Scott Simley, Eric Arnold, Brian Wertman, the only 3 not to pit. And Scott Simley on pit road now, so that brings Eric Arnold up here to the front. And what these guys are playing is the caution card. Hopefully they'll be able to steal some track position. As you see right there, the 19 finally leaving pit road, so he's got some work to do. And I'm sure he's cussing himself out right now down in chat. And here comes Arnold at lap 56. That'll leave Wertman and Stefan Marinick, the only cars not to pit. And eventually that will hand the lead over to this guy right here, Pedro Mojica, who's driven his way through the field and to the front in a race that's only seen the 1 caution so far at lap number 2. That looks like had some computer issues get involved in a wreck that saw Bob Gillenwater go flying like he hit a landmine or something, amongst other cars involved. And look at what the doctors ordered here. And here's a battle. It's going to be for the 5th position eventually. Should actually will be for 4th, I should say, as Wortman comes to pit road here shortly. But that is Dory Woods making a pass on Van Schaik for 5th. Marinik coming to pit road now, so we should see Wortman here in the next lap or so. You see Kevin Stone with that nose damage, so unfortunately he's fallen 2 laps down. Wortman calling out he'll pit this time by, so this is where he'll hand the lead back over to Pedro Mojica. And Pedro will set sail. And it looks like he'll have about a 2.2 second lead or so on Ritter. Actually, it's going to be right at 2 seconds. Radford there in 3rd, Doy Woods, Charles Van Schaik, Nigel Standish, Glenn Campbell, Chad Coleman, Mike Kelly, and Tom Dreiling. That early strategy. He was running like 18th or 19th, I believe, when he came to pit road. Now up to the 10th position. So he stole some track position. Now what he needs is for this race to go yellow probably quickly. You see that front, oh, now right side damage after the wall. Stop watching the broadcast, Tom. But Tom, a little bit of damage on that front end also. And he's going to be one of the slower cars out there now with the older tires. So that's where, if he can get a yellow here, he'll steal this track position, bring everybody back to pit road, and be able to potentially race for a top 10. But right now, unfortunately, he's going to be one of the slower cars, and people are going to catch him really quickly on the newer tires and get by him. And that's because of the separation of pit stops. So you got Dreiling that came in at 37. You've got Glenn Campbell at 43, and then most of the others were lap 50 or later. The part that has shocked me here in this race so far, and I don't know how much track temp has to do with it, and I know the track temp's been kind of helter-skelter throughout this race. It's gone up, I think, as high as 129. It dropped to 118 at one point. Now it's back to 126. So that's going to play a role in how this track acts, and I think it's allowing these cars to work the bottom and work the top. You know, you'd think this would be a top-dominant type of race, but you see Doy Woods is right there running, pretty much separating the seam of the 18 to 19 degrees. You see Van Schaik there at the bottom. Jatina goes to the top. I mean, this is the way it's supposed to be here at Kansas. Scott Simley here, fresher tires inside of Dreiling for the 10th spot. And, of course, Scott was one of the last ones to come to pit road, so he'll be able to use these tires to a little bit of an advantage. He's got 6 seconds, unfortunately, almost 7 seconds before he gets to Mike Kelly up there in the 9th position. Wortman, unfortunately, a slow pit stop, 30 seconds on pit road. All right, let's run you through the field here and show you where everybody's running right now. Of course, Pedro Mojica leads by 3.8 over Steve Ritter as Pedro looks to get win number 7 here on the season as he continues to just roll through this Grand National Series. Steve Ritter runs second, but unfortunately he is getting hawked down here by the 94 Troy Radford has been knocking off lap after lap, and he has been hawking down this 16 car. And we'll keep it here for a second to watch the battle for second. As they say, catching's one thing, passing's another. Ritter going to kind of hold that 94 tight, but Troy keeps her right there on the bottom. Bob Ross in turn 3 and 4, down to the apron. See if he's able to slide up here and complete the pass for second. And he pretty much will into turn 1. So move Radford to second. Ritter back to third, and both these guys having their best runs of the season. There's Dory Woods back in the 4th position right now in that 28 car. He's got Charles Van Schaik right there on his rear. Van Schaik, great recovery. As I joke around, called the SpongeBob Van Schaik car. Nigel Standish back here behind Dory Woods. This is about 8 seconds back from the leader. There's Chad Coleman going to come into picture right there at NOS Energy number 38 car. Chad in the 7th position. There you see Tyler Dalton down below. Dalton, unfortunately, is 17th, 1 lap down. And needs some help to get back on the lead lap after that speeding penalty on pit road. There's Mike Kelly, 8th position, 15 seconds back. All right, Tom Dreiling has come back to pit road here. This is lap number 68, so about 45 or 50 laps on the tires. He stops way short. Right side tires going on. That car, unfortunately, has been through a little bit of a wreck, we'll say, or two today. So after covering Dreiling stop, let's go back to Glenn Campbell here in the 9th position. Glenn's actually got a battle on his hands here. He's got Eric Arnold behind him in the 10th position, and there behind them is Scott Simley. Arnold, remember, fresher tires on that number 31 as he pitted at lap 56. Arnold 21 seconds back, one of the faster cars on the track with the faster tires. And that's how he was able to make the pass there on Campbell. And now when you enter Scott Simley in there, who pitted 1 lap sooner than Arnold, you'll think he'll be able to do the same. And there's the old purple car. Only Wortman knows the nickname. I will not say it on the broadcast. And there goes Wortman going by. Gonna get what track position he can with those fresh tires. Maybe hope for a caution himself. But unfortunately for Wortman, trying to see if he's won. I think he's still 1 lap down. So he's got a shot. Just got to get to that lucky dog position. Randy Oakham, 12th spot right now. Randy is about to go a lap down. As you see Pedro right behind him. Last car on the lead lap, 12th position. In the call before you dig, number 8, NC811 car. Behind them is the first car lap down now, Anthony Calantoni in the 84. Anthony, one of many cars that got in a fight with the turn 4 wall and lost. But still holding on right now in the 13th position. There's Chipotle man, Nick Cashman, 92 car. Nick running in the 14th position right now. He is a lap down also, and of course trying to catch Calantoni, as that'll be a battle for position. Doug Sigmund, the 04 car. Don't get to talk about him too much. Unfortunately, he one of those out here having a good old time, but just doing the best he can. In that Pro Systems 04 car, Doug running in the 15th position right now. And then the before-mentioned Tyler Dalton sped on pit road, running 16th right now. And Tyler is running some of the faster laps on the track. Unfortunately, he has got almost 9 seconds to make up to get back to the first car lap down. So he's going to need some help. I would say he's going to need a yellow before he'll catch Randy Oakham up there in the 12th spot. And then before I mentioned Brian Wortman there. Stefan Marinick in the one car. As you see, he's got no rear clip at all on that car. He was involved in that lap 2 accident. The Dungeons and Dragons car. Running in the 18th position. Tom Dreiling just off pit road. 4 new fuel goods on that car. Let's see what kind of track position he can steal here in 24 laps. The good news is the car that he needs to pass to get back to where he originally started the strategy at back at lap 33, I think it was, is only 9 seconds ahead of him in 18th. There's Kevin Stone, the 17 car, out here just making laps in the Arma number 17. That modified running in the 20th position right now. And then mostly everybody else off the track except for one particular car. And it's this man right here. And if you're just joining the broadcast, this poor man here went for one of the wildest netcode rides I've ever seen. Let's go back to the one caution we've had at lap number 4. Bob Gillenwater, ladies and gentlemen. And that car's still running. So, let's look outside the car now and ask ourselves how this happened. It starts right here with a netcode deal between Joey and Wesley. I think Joey said he had some kind of computer issue right there. Let's go back here to Bob. Bob's going to pretty much hit Joey, but Joey disappears right there. And, well, all of a sudden, it's like he ran over an IED or something. I'm just hoping that the wheel that he has does not have some kind of force feedback shockwave thing to it, or else we might want to check on Bob's wrist. "20 laps to go here from Kansas. Again, tomorrow night, the Cup Series in action. Hopefully you can join us at 8:15 Eastern Time. Kevin will be back in the booth. I get to go back to work tomorrow. Eric Arnold continuing to bring that 12 car with him as he roars up through the field with the fresher tires of the group here. They're about 6.5 seconds behind Mike Kelly, which would be the battle for the 8th position. As I look at the lap times, unfortunately they have pretty much caught the lap times of Pedro Mojica, so the freshness of those tires are not really playing a role now. But at least they've been able to work their way into the top 10, kept their cars clean most of the night. As Simley tries to get the clean air to his number 12 and get to that back bumper, that 31, to make a move. How close you are to that outside wall. So behind the wall, you got Josh Parker, John Higman Jr., Jeff Ryan, and Wesley Donaldson. after that big wreck earlier. As we got 16 laps to go, let's hear a word from our good friends at 811. I'll watch this battle here for a second before we do. Oh, they almost hit each other. Yikes! Simley got out of it, thankfully, and that could have been really bad. But, all right, that's going to give us a minute to check in with our friends at 811 as you're watching the Cup Series, or the Grand National Series, Sim500, here on the Captain Esports Network from Kansas.
If recent storms have caused damage to your property, contact 811 before you begin your cleanup. Buried utilities around uprooted trees can make a bad situation worse if those lines are not located before digging. Electric, natural gas, and internet lines are everywhere, and knowing where they are is the safest way to start any digging project. Call North Carolina 811 by dialing 811 or by using single address ticket on NC811.org or the NC811 app.
All right, back we are here at Kansas. 14 laps to go with Mojica, Radford, Ritter, Van Schiken, Woods. Your top five. And of course, thanks to our sponsors, 811, particularly the North Carolina 811.org, for sponsoring the Grand National and Cup Series this season. Always a reminder to call before you dig. Some more severe storms this week. So if you plan on having to do some work around the house because of some damage, maybe from storms, or if you're planning to maybe put a pool in or put a fence up or any kind of digging of some sort, make sure you do dial 811 before you do so. Not only is it the law, but it's also smart of you to do. I guess it kind of goes hand in hand, right? 12 laps to go. Mojica running away with this one from Radford Ritter. As I mentioned, here's Chad Coleman 15 seconds back as he gets inside of Standish and takes the 16th or 6th position away. 16 seconds back almost from the leader. So we'll see if he's able to catch the 28 of Doy Woods. And I'm watching these two here. They almost came together right before we went to that little break. But I think before this race is over with, we're going to have ourselves a fight for the 10th position or 9th position. Arnold about scraped up the outside wall there. As well did Simley. Oh, Eric got the wall there, and that's going to cost him. You can see Eric kind of flirting with it and getting that car in gall, but unfortunately the right rear caught the wall. And usually when that happens, the wall wins. And in this case, Simley gets advantage and gets the 9th position. There's the bad news behind him, as Pedro is coming. I don't think he's going to get to them before the end of this race. But But this has been one of dominance here by that 58 car. It all started Tyler Dalton on the pole. Tyler led all the way up until his battle with the 58. And that happened right before the green flag pit stops, and then Tyler sped on pit road, and unfortunately he finds himself now in the 13th position. Stuck a lap down with a lot of the field, and it's been the Pedro show ever since, as he looks to go 7 for 13 going into this 2-week break before we go to Darlington in 2 weeks. Now Dalton could end up 12th here, as he's actually catching Randy Oakham. This is going to be a battle for 12th right here. Now, unfortunately, they're 10 seconds back from Glenn Campbell, so I don't think they'll get to the battle for 10th. Or I should say 11th, but Dalton is here. As Dalton tries to clear him. Randy racing him hard. As expected here, 5 laps to go. Every point counts. And Dalton drives it in there into turn 3 and 4 and is able to clear him for position and chops him off. We almost had 811 on 811 violence right there in turn 4. So Pedro entered this race with a pretty sizable point lead. As a matter of fact, let's throw it up on the screen here real quickly what it looked like entering this race. It was 55 points over Bob Gillenwater, 83 over Chad Coleman and Scott Simley. Chad and Scott are going to finish in the back half of the top 10. Bob Gillenwater, unfortunately, was involved in a wreck early. He is going to likely jump to 23rd here before the end of this race here in 2 laps, as he's got John Higman right there in front of him. So he'll get at least 1 spot, but he is going to fall to at least probably 4th or 5th in points. And Pedro is going to open up a pretty big lead now. But the good news for the field is the playoffs when they get here later on come the summertime, as we get into the fall. Of course, this season not as long as the Cup Series, because after last season they made the change to put the Grand National Series a little bit shorter to allow the football fans to be able to go watch football after the Grand National Series ends. So that's why you don't see this season as long as like the Cup Series, which will end in November. Final lap from Kansas, first time since October of 2020 that cars have been on the track here for Sim500 at this track. And the last time we were here, it was Byron Daly going back-to-back in 2019 and 2020. And after a return in the earliest that this league has ever run at Kansas, it's Pedro Mojica continuing his dominance in his 7th win of 2023. Radford is going to finish 2nd. Steve Ritter going to finish 3rd. Charles Van Schaik ends up 4th. Great comeback. Doy Woods, Chad Coleman going to end up 6th. 1 car, Cal Tony's in the grass. Kelly finishing 7th. Standish gets 8th. Simley and Eric Arnold ends up 10th. And you know what? Did Glenn Campbell run out of gas, because Tyler Dalton ends up 11th? Interesting. Pedro getting pretty good at these, I'd say. As Cody McCorkle says hello. Hello, Cody. Yeah, Cody, whatever your name is. All right, let's put the final results up here, as we will talk to the drivers that finished in the top 3 in the race, at least. Starting with Steve Ritter, who finished in the 3rd position, Turn 1 Heroes. Steve's been slowly starting to put himself a season together here these last few weeks, getting some good qualifying runs, and now tonight turning a good qualifying effort into a good race effort. Nice job, Steve. Congratulations. Let me make sure I put Steve in the right channel. Sometimes I don't. I do not. I put him in the wrong broadcast room. We're in this broadcast room, and my mic is muted, apparently. So he's not hearing a word I'm saying over here, Discord. Just give me 1 second here. Let me hit this button here. Let me hit this button here. Steve joins me now. Steve, congratulations, man. I know you've had some great qualifying runs here the last couple of weeks, and now we're starting to see the qualifying work its way into good race runs, and tonight a top 3 for you. It is good, and unfortunately, here's part of my computer updated, by the way, this weekend, and I've had to reset every single thing when it comes to audio source. And as I learned as you talked, my audio source is not connected for this one. So let's hit this button again, and let's say hi to Steve. Hi, Steve, again. I heard you. They didn't.
Hey, Chris.
So, yeah, talk a little bit again about that 3rd place finish and how that momentum just seems to starting to carry for you.
Yeah, the qualifying effort tonight was good. We got it on the front row and missed the big wreck. I mean, and if it wasn't for the qualifying, we'd have been in it. So that's really what put us on track. And then I just didn't screw up tonight and actually drove a decent race for once.
What was the one thing that I think, like, since you've been, racing obviously in this series, I know we're all trying to get better and better and better at what we're doing. What's the one thing that you've started to do more and more now that has helped you get better and better and click off these finishes?
Probably just staying focused and really trying to feel, through the wheel and all the stuff that we have, what the car's actually doing.
Mm-hmm.
And just fine-tuning yourself around that, trying to gain speed out of it, really.
Well, it's a great run for you, and unfortunately, you get to wait 2 weeks now before you do it on this side of things. So I'm sure that's kind of disappointing, but got to be exciting to do it now. But hey, send some shout outs wherever you like to.
Yeah, thanks. Like to give all the moms out there a happy Mother's Day today, obviously. Thank you guys for everything you do. The broadcasts are fantastic. Mike Kelly, Scott Simley, all the guys at Turn 1, they've helped me a lot improve a little bit here. So, and Pella Windows for being on the car.
Absolutely. Well, great job tonight. Congratulations on the top 3. And hopefully, I think you race on Mondays too, correct?
I do. I'll see you tomorrow night.
Absolutely. Looking forward to seeing you in Kansas tomorrow night, buddy. Be safe.
Thanks, man.
All right, you too. Steve Ritter finishing in the 3rd position tonight for Turn 1 Heroes. As he mentioned, the only thing I'm confused about is he said Mike Kelly and Simley taught him something. I'd like to know what. All right, Troy Radford. I kid because I care. Finishing in the 2nd position tonight in the 94 car. Troy, man, what a run for you tonight here, finishing in the 2nd position. I think much like Steve, this was, I think, one of the better runs I've seen you have from start to finish and putting a whole race together.
Thank you, man. Yeah, it's definitely been a really, really rough season. Unfortunately, I've missed some races with some, crazy stuff going on. But I have struggled. These guys are so talented here that, for whatever reason on the long runs, these boys are just smoking me. And, Pedro, you could see it tonight, just, continued the domination in the season. He just looked so good up there. But I just got up there behind Tyler and Pedro and just tried to ride as much as I could, just trying to figure out what they're doing on long runs. So definitely been a painful season, but I'll take a P2.
Now, of course, you were one of the many that decided to do the one stopper, getting halfway. And if I remember correctly, you pitted right there with Tyler and he came to pit road somewhere around, I think it was lap 53. You guys came to pit road. You had the 2 laps on Ritter. Talk about that chase, though, because you had to go catch Ritter to get by him to get back to second.
Exactly, and that was it. I knew I had a little bit fresher tires, so Tyler made a mistake coming in the pits. Looked like he was going to be right on, and looked like he get a little sideways coming in, and had to let off the brake, which then made him speed, so that kind of killed him. But Steve, it's always that yo-yo. I knew at the end of the run I was going to have a lot better tires than him, so try not to push it too much. And then once I started pulling from him a little bit, I kind of backed up a little because there was no way in heck I was catching Pedro. And just make sure I was putting myself with the lap cars, make sure I was putting myself in good positions with the lap cars and not, going to have anything stupid happen and cost me a top 5.
Absolutely. I totally understand that play, especially here at Kansas with it. I mean, tonight it kind of widened out. I was expecting to be more of a top riding track, but hey, I want to talk a little bit. It's one of the first times I think you and I have actually had a conversation, and I know one thing that I've caught in my eye on every time I see you on track is that the car of yours. And it caught my eye because dumb me, I see a car, I'm like, oh, it looks like this, and I call it out that way, and I'm like, oh, I'm way off on this one. But you actually have a special like sponsorship, partnership type of thing on your car.
Yeah, absolutely. So we actually have a partnership with Lucky Finn Project. Lucky Finn Project is an organization that provides support to families of children born with limb differences or children who maybe have had a limb difference that comes into their life. That all came into ours with our 4th child. We had no warning. He was born and he's missing the lower part of his left arm. So definitely a big shock, but super helpful in getting that figured out and getting support and finding out exactly, what even stuff as stupid as what do I do with the long shirts?
Right.
like just going to dangle. What do I do there? So really, really awesome organization. And I run their stuff on every one of my cars.
Nice.
Just because it's such an important company or group to me and the support that they provide for everybody.
Well, that's awesome to hear, man. I mean, I'm glad to see that you guys have been able to work with that to take care of a very, 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 very unfortunate circumstance there with the family member. But hey, that's cool to see, man. Anything we can do to help, let me know, and go from there. I'm always about helping out those kind of people. I'm glad you were able to talk about it for a second. Not to mention, I got it mixed up with a root beer drink that has 2 letters in it. But yeah, that's me being the idiot. But anyways, nice job, man. And I don't know if I had to give you a chance, but send some shout outs wherever you like to.
Again, just big shout out Lucky Finn Project, Evidence Based Mommy, National Kidney Foundation, and just everybody out there in this league. It's such a talented league that this is my first season really running with you guys, especially in the Premier. And I'm telling you, from an outsider standpoint, I'm used to going into my normal leagues and dominating and winning championships and stuff like that. And it's definitely been a humbling experience, but the guys out here are awesome and, ton of learning that can be had here. So if you got somebody that's watching the broadcast and be thinking about joining the group, it's a great group of guys.
Well, great job, and congratulations on your P2 finish, and hopefully we'll see you. I'm trying to remember, if you run tomorrow night too, correct? Or no?
No, I just
you don't. Okay, there you go. Well, hey, we'll see you here in a couple weeks then.
Good, thank you.
All right, buddy. That is Troy Radford, second place finisher here tonight. Congratulations to him. As now it's trying to remember what channel I pulled you from. We're just gonna put him. Well, let's let him move himself. I'm just that nice of a guy. All right, let's talk to our winner. I know what channel he's in. The guy just continues to do what he does on Sunday nights, and that's win. And that is Pedro Mojica. Goes to victory lane tonight. Pedro, he decided to, well, he didn't, I don't think he decided to. I think it just happened that way. He started in the back and had to work your way up there through the field to get yourself in victory lane tonight and score that 7th win with only 1 caution. That's not easy.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, Chris. Yeah, no, we did start in the back. I kind of came in late into the server for practice, so I wasn't too sure what the car was going to do in traffic, so I decided to start in the back just to be safe to my fellow competitors and just kind of give me a couple laps to kind of figure out the car. But yeah, I mean, it was fun. Like, I kind of knew this track had multi-groove, and that worked pretty decent, so I was looking forward to starting in the back and kind of making a little bit of a challenge and just trying to learn more about this whole aero push with the car and stuff seems like it's a little bit more. It's a little worse this year, so just trying to figure out some stuff for later in the year once we get into the playoffs and whatnot. So, but yeah, I mean, we only had one yellow, and the yellow was really early in the race. So, unfortunately, we missed that wreck. It seemed like that wreck was pretty big, so that kind of helped too. Helped us. I think we restarted 12th or 13th or somewhere around there. So, helped keep us closer to the front, and then we just kind of maintained. And biggest thing was just running the bottom. I didn't know what was going to happen between running the bottom or top, but usually I know the top wears the tires a little bit more than the bottom. So that was kind of my hope that we'd have a long enough run that would actually make a difference, and end up making a difference. So that was nice. So we were able to drive up there and get to those guys and take the lead, and then pretty much set sail. Tyler, unfortunately, it sounded like he had a speeding penalty. So pretty much when that happened, it sounded like other people had issues coming through the pits, so we came out with a huge lead. So once we had that, it was just set it on cruise control and cruise to our 7th victory of the season, man.
Yeah, it was definitely a crazy one. And you brought up the separate lanes, and yes, obviously we know the top side here, Kansas does wear the tires out more, and part of that's because this is, you could argue, the main groove around the track is right up there against the boards. But yeah, I saw you and Chad, and even later in the run, a lot of cars go back to the bottom side, and that kind of caught me off guard because I'm like, all right, this track is usually top dominant. And when I asked this, I start to wonder, did the weather and the slickness of the track allow the bottom to do that?
Yeah, no, for sure. We were actually just talking about that in the channel post race debrief. Because yes, we had a couple of drivers pretty much say the same thing. It's like, yeah, usually this track is top dominant, and it's been for years. It's been since it's ever come out,
right,
honestly. But yeah, just the way we had the way the weather was, it was really hot, and the way the setup was, like it did allow for the bottom to be actually useful. So, I think essentially, yeah, you could run the bottom if you wanted to save tires, or run the top and try to get track position. So, I think if you did a good mix of that to get to where you wanted to in the front, you could make that work. So, but yeah, a lot of it is just the weather. Like if it was colder, it would have been more one groove, and we would have probably all been trained on the top. So, yeah, the heat just provides more opportunity to move around.
Yeah, Joey likes to put you guys into a sauna, as it seems like every week. So, great job tonight, and send some shout-outs, brother.
I appreciate you, Chris, and Captain Esports for putting on the broadcast. NC811, Call Before You Dig. Appreciate them and what they do for the Sunday series and the Monday series. Trans Service for sponsoring the car. Glenn Campbell, I appreciate him for letting me represent him in the series. And Sim500 and all the admins at Sim500, I appreciate them and everything they do. It's always fun to come here and just stress-free environment. That's a fun thing. Joey does a good job to just cut the BS out and just remind all of us that we're all here to have fun. And all the guys on Team Name, appreciate them. And then yeah, I appreciate the family, and happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there, and my mom and my wife as well. So, yep, thanks.
Absolutely, man. Great job, Pedro. Congratulations on your win here tonight, and 7th of the season in 13 races. That's a pretty good number. Well, it's not.
Yeah,
much.
hopefully we can start getting those over on the Monday side. Yeah, it seems like Monday we've been close. It's been close in a lot of races. We could almost have about the same stat for wins on the Monday deal, but anyways, we'll try to start padding that tomorrow.
Absolutely, man. Hey, looking forward to seeing you tomorrow night, buddy.
All right, I appreciate it.
You too, man. Pedro Mojica wins here tonight, and as you said, he wants to move some of those to Monday. He's only got one Monday win, but 7 on Sunday. Not a good balance, if you ask where I'm from. Hey, win's a win, so I'm sure he's pretty happy about it no matter what. So, all right, what a race here from Kansas. One caution, and I'm pretty sure that Joey feels bad about it, but those computer deals happen, as they say in life. So, congratulations to Pedro on the win, and appreciate everybody from coming out tonight, and appreciate the viewers who watched here this evening. And again, we'll be back here tomorrow night from Kansas, ready to rock and roll here on the Cup Series side. A reminder again, next race for the Grand National Series is 2 weeks away, June 4th. Oh my gosh, it's my 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow, 19 years ago I graduated? Oh, well, never mind. Anyways, I'm always reminded of June. So, anyways, 8:15 Eastern Time. Come to the Captain Esports Network. Be ready to run for Darlington. And for those who watch on Sunday nights exclusively, enjoy your Memorial Day off. Thank you to all who serve. As always, we are very grateful for those people. But otherwise, we hope to see you tomorrow night. And a reminder, this isn't just a game. It's iRacing. See ya!
Searching for greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless. A sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it. And I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story. I'll make a decision if I want some peace or if I want the glory. Yeah, don't want a life that is complacent or possibly boring. I just want a life that is worth every day exploring.
My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, yeah,
This is a statement to appreciate all that is vacant. It's just for the taking.